Normally, I'm not a big fan of running anything meta, whether it be the offensive side or the defensive side of the ball. But in today's video, I'm going to show you guys my spin on the Mike Blitz 3 meta out of the nickel 3-3-5 wide, in which we're going to actually use a defensive lineman to get some easy pressure on the quarterback. Let's go ahead and get into it. What is up, guys? Zan from the Madden YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the nickel 3-3-5 wide meta, but this time we're actually going to be using a defensive lineman.
Oh my God, I gotta call my brother.
Now, in order for this tip to work, you are going to want to make sure that your defensive ends in this formation have an ability known as El Toro. You guys may have heard of this ability from last year, as this is one of the few abilities in Madden where the defensive linemen actually lit up if you weren't using them. But for those that know, this is actually a really powerful ability where if you are using the defensive lineman and you rush 5 and get a one-on-one, you can absolutely demolish the offensive guard in front of you and get to the quarterback easily for sacks. Now, in today's video, I'm going to show you guys a way that you can actually get some loop pressure while you're dropping in coverage with your user, and also get the El Toro animations if you ever want to rush with your user. This is going to create some confusion for your opponent, especially if they like to run the gun bunch offense. So let's go ahead and show you guys how to do this. So again, you're going to want to make sure that you have an El Toro. I like to go ahead and use the left of screen defensive end. For the purpose of this video, Myles Garrett has this ability and he's very good at it. So if you guys want to practice this, use the Browns in practice mode. And again, we're going to go up against the gun bunch offense, as that is far and away the most popular offense that you guys run into online day in and day out. So we'll start off with kind of a five-man route where everybody is basically running a pattern and it's just 5 blockers against your defensive front. So with this particular tip, the way I would go ahead and run this is on auto flip. And what we're going to do with this is we're actually going to flip the defense out of the huddle and then man align it again. And what this is going to do is it's going to create some interesting zone combinations. As you guys see with this particular tip, what ends up happening is the fact that we called the defense on auto flip, then flipped it on purpose and then re-man aligned it, is going to allow us to keep the nickel corner on the side of the bunch, while we also have the safety that is on the side of the bunch rotating down. He could play a hard flat, he could play whatever. The reason I want to do this tip is because you guys can kind of mix up the zone that your nickel corner is in. So you see right here, he's actually in a cross seam flat. If you were to go ahead and shade this underneath, he would basically play a hard flat. Now, I know that my play art is glitching here. You guys will just have to trust for the process of this video. And shout outs to, play art still being broken 7+ weeks into the game. Well done, EA. We really appreciate not knowing what our players are in. But you guys, again, will just have to trust that he is in a hard flat. Now, with this particular tip, what I like to do is I like to take this looping linebacker and I like to stack him on the side of the El Toro. Again, this is going to be my user. Now, for this particular play here, we are going to have this player dropping in coverage. Now, the really interesting thing about this is that with this 3-rec hook, using the defensive end that is in the 3-rec hook really gets the attention of basically the entire left side of the offensive line. And our goal here is we're hoping for this guy to loop into the A gap, or for the tackle to look at us and get Wilson off the edge, or for the line as a whole to kind of gear towards the left and maybe bring Taki off the edge. This is far and away the most inconsistent setup that I'm going to show you here in this video, but it can actually be a pretty decent little setup for you guys. Again, with this particular setup, you might go ahead and QB contain if you wish to. If you see here that you QB contain, it actually opens up the gaps a little bit more for you. For some reason, when you QB contain, it puts the defensive end in a hard flat, which is super bizarre. But again, with this, you're just going to have to trust the process on this. Sometimes it will flip your player into the 3-rec. So you see right here that when I shaded the coverage underneath, it turned my seam flats into hard flats, as I said. And then when I QB contained, it actually, took me as the 3-rec hook defender and viewed me as the seam flat, which was then shaded underneath to the hard flat. I know it's all confusing. Again, EA really needs to change and get these play art bugs fixed.
Well, it'll never happen.
Again, if you feel like you're the one that's responsible for the flat, you could go ahead and put this guy into maybe a vert hook. This would allow you to kind of confuse your opponents, right? So the goal with this is that, the offensive player typically reads the nickel corner. If the nickel corner doesn't go to the flat, a lot of times they'll throw a ball straight to the flat to the tight end. And if you have this guy in the hard flat flying down, it can kind of mess up their read. So just kind of something that you guys can mess with. Obviously, you know, there's a lot of cover 3 bombs in this game, so you could go ahead and put this guy into a deep half. Again, this guy is our user. So we'll go ahead and snap the ball here, kind of show you right here. We got that A gap looper. And as you saw right there, we kind of had, you know, the vert hook playing that hitch on the right side of the field. And then we had, obviously right here, it looked to me like we had the safety also playing underneath. So again, with the play art kind of glitching out, you just have to kind of be careful with that. Again, what you do is you break the huddle, you flip the play, then you man align it. Keeps the nickel corner on that side. My recommendation with this is to go ahead and put the nickel corner into, you know, literally anything you want. You can put him into the hard flat underneath, which would allow you to then put this guy into the hook curl if you wanted to. Again, with this, you could go ahead and hybridize the coverage on the backside if you wanted to. You know, this is going to allow you to get back in the middle of the field. Again, this guy kind of stacks right here on the El Toro side of the formation, and you can go ahead and QB contain. So here you see this, we're kind of dropping off the line. There's our A gap right through the middle, and we're right to the quarterback. Now, the really cool thing about this is your opponent is bound and determined to block a running back. Once they get sacked through the A gap or they see a free runner coming through, their first step is traditionally to block a running back. Especially with the nickel 335 wide, they're going to use the delay fade. And this is where you're going to be able to use this El Toro player and be able to get those instant sheds. So my advice to you guys is, if you guys are running this, is to use kind of a power rusher defensive end or outside linebacker that you can put at this spot that has good athleticism. You know, somebody that you can drop off the line and feel like you can lurk the field with. For instance, there is a new Ted Hendricks out there. He may not get the El Toro quite yet. I think he's actually a speed rusher. I don't know what archetype they gave him this year, but he does get lurker for 1 AP. So in fact, he's a coverage linebacker, but he gets lurker for 1 AP. You can put him at this spot and lurk with him at 6'7", which is pretty crazy. If you guys are a Raiders theme team, that can go up to 91 speed, I believe, which is absolutely bananas. And, you know, you're going to be able to kind of use him, or, you know, you're going to be able to find an El Toro player that has high 80 speed that you can lurk with. The difference between your user in this game is really not that noticeable. They all feel pretty chunky and clunky. So, you know, you're going to be fine. But again, you see here how this A-gap loop comes in. This is a 5-man pressure against 5 blockers. Your opponent is bound and determined to block a running back. So when they go to block their running back on this, this is where it should be really telling for you guys to go ahead and start to run your El Toro. So one thing I'll oftentimes do with the El Toro is I would go ahead and once you notice them blocking the running back, this is the time where you start to take this guy and man up a tight end with him, right? And then you're just going to rush your front 5 with the QB contained. I like to crash down. And what your goal is with this is, when you manually rush with him, the bull rush move that is associated with the El Toro is down on the analog stick. You're going to have to practice this. You're going to have to really put in some work to get this right. And what you want to do is, when this happens, you're going to go ahead and bull rush. And you see how we're able to just bull rush through anybody with that El Toro move. Now, right there, you saw the running back was kind of waiting for us. If you want to send 6, the running back would pick up the 6th rusher. So, you know, if you wanted to blitz Clowney on this, you know, the running back is going to be stepping up into an A gap to try to pick a guy up. That's going to allow you, you know, in this situation, maybe shade underneath. And then, you know, obviously you're going to be able to cause that running back to try to, you know, step over to the right. So, you know, when we do this here, go ahead and snap the ball. You want to hit that bull rush animation. You see how we can get off of that. And right there, with me trying to, you know, snap the ball on one controller and bull rush on the other, it's a little bit tougher. But what you're going to notice, just generally speaking, is with the El Toro animation, you get some really, really devastating animations, especially when you're crashing down. So I like to go ahead and contain, just because it gives me as much room as possible to kind of run the El Toro. But you see here, there's that animation. They light up. They're going to floor people. They're going to, you know, knock them over pretty quickly. I'll try to see, we're running out of our pass rush moves here. But again, here, as you run this, kind of put this guy, maybe even put him right there. You blitz your user. You know, that running back is going to try to step into a gap. And, you know, you can hit that bull rush animation just like you saw right there, and be able to get to the quarterback. You know, on top of this, you're going to be able to obviously drop into coverage. So you know, again, this is something you don't have to bring every down. I think the fact that the El Toro's on the field is going to instill a lot of fear in people. Again, and at any point in time, if you want to, you can kind of, you know, peel back in coverage. You see right there, there's that looper through the A gap. If he didn't bounce off of that nose tackle, he comes in clean. And then of course you can always mix in the actual pressure of the nickel 3-3-5. So with the El Toro, a lot of times your opponent might go ahead and, you know, block the running back, hoping that he'll be there to pick you up. You know, if that's the case, you just go ahead and run the traditional meta setup, right? So you kind of stand right here, QB contain. You know, the running back should step up, let that guy run around him, and then you're lurking in the middle of the field in the nickel 3-3-5 wide. So, you know, this isn't just the 5-man variant. This isn't, you know, just setting your zone drops every play. There is a little bit of creativity that you guys can create in this defense. There's a lot of different, you know, looping pressures. Again, with this particular setup, the thing that's really cool is with the flip and then the man align, you can create some pretty interesting little setups where, you know, you can have some cross zones on the field, you know, stuff like you see right here. You know, be able to, you know, confuse your opponent in particular. So again, you see as we kind of run this, there's that looper through the A gap right at the quarterback. So again, it's the fact that you're using the D lineman and the 3-rec hook that kind of creates some of these pressure looks for you. You know, from this look, if you're not standing in the gap, a lot of times your opponent may go 5 out. You see right here how that can be kind of catastrophic for them. You see here with the cross zones, one thing that you definitely need to pay attention to here is that cross hard flat that you think that the nickel corner is playing. He's very clearly playing the hard flat on the right, while the safety is flying down in the 3-rec from that position. So that's actually a pretty cool thing. Safeties and 3-recs are a pretty wanted thing in this game. So again, if you flip this play and then you man align, it looks like you have this guy in a hard flat and this guy in well, I'm sorry, they're both in seam flats, right? You shade underneath, they would be hard flats. Well, the truth is this guy is in the hard flat to the right and this guy's in the 3-rec hook. And then I'm technically the hard flat to the left in this example. So again, once EA gets around to fixing this, if EA gets around to fixing these issues, you should be able to kind of see, you know, your responsibilities a little bit better. But in terms of, you know, labbing, you see right here just how easily we can get looping A gap pressure, sending just the stock blitz basically. As long as you just slightly move that guy, you know, it's going to help you out a lot. There you guys have it. That's today's video. Again, I would strongly urge you guys to combine this with my tip from a couple weeks back about the man align trick, dealing with people who flip bunch. That was a really, really important video. I think if you guys run nickel in general, you ought to be looking at this tip because it can be really, really valuable to you. Let me show you, like, for instance, in this cover 3 defense, if you're on auto flip, you flip your play on purpose and then you man align and then you shade underneath. You see that you can kind of get some crazy little angles that you see right here. You could try to go ahead and, you know, move this guy and then, you know, put this guy into the 3-rec hook and use it this way. I'm not saying it's going to work the exact same way, especially because you're not blitzing this guy off the edge. But, you know, you can kind of fiddle around with this, get some interesting cross zones on the field and, you know, kind of create some different things that you might be able to, you know, get pressured. And you see right there, there's the El Toro going ham with Myles Garrett and then the strip specialist. Get creative with it. I mean, right now defense is about trying to mix it up, confuse your opponents, and, you know, there's no reason you shouldn't be using abilities like El Toro, whether it's user or letting the AI use it, especially in this defense, which is pretty popular. So just give you guys more tools for your tool belt. If you guys like this video, please make sure you guys go check out my strategy website, gridirongameplans.gg. $9.95 per month unlocks the entire website. I most recently put out a defensive game plan that is helping everybody, players of all types, beginners, players that play every year that are looking to take the next step. I've had pro players reach out to me. My cover 4 match game plan, where I break down quarters, palms, cover 6, cover 9, and cover 6 invert, is helping lock down the field, whether it's bunch, trips, tight end, all the different rules, press versus off coverage, 2x2 versus 3x1, cut rules, solo checks, and special checks. If you guys need a better understanding of coverage to put in behind some of your blitzes, Gridiron Game Plans is the place to go. You get that game plan and everything else on the website. There's 5 game plans and weekly vault updates for just $9.95 a month. Go check it out. Hopefully I'll see you guys over there on the website. If not, we'll see you guys right back here tomorrow with our next video upload. Until then, this is Zan in the lab, and good luck.